Hello and welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thanks so much for joining us for season 2, episode 11, Playthings. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, handling weapons, operating heavy machinery, or hanging freaky old wedding dresses on our walls. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Lynn, what are you drinking today?
I kept it simple. I just went for a simple glass of white wine.
Wine it is. The featured cocktail this episode is a China Doll. It is 1.5 ounces each of tequila and brandy mixed with 4 ounces of milk, and you blend that with some ice and serve it frozen. So, Lynn, you are making a face that says to me you think it's going to be delicious.
I was right with you until you said the over milk part, and I'm like, okay, you lost me.
Well, if now you may or may not enjoy them, but there are a lot of cocktails that are blended with milk, like a mudslide or
That is true.
White Russians are with milk or heavy cream. Something like Bailey's, there I go using a brand name, Irish cream liqueur is whiskey, milk, and honey. So you don't think of it because it's already blended that way. So I understand where you're coming from, but like once you think about it, you're like, oh, it is actually kind of semi-normal.
hmm
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of forgotten about the mudslide, which I have not had in a very long time.
Oh goodness, it's probably been since college since I learned to mudslide.
I was gonna, that's about the last time I think I have had one is
At a
30 some years ago.
yeah, at a restaurant that celebrates the end of the week. Before we get started, we had some changes here that we want to let you know about. Wizard Dave has done a lot of great work with us over the past year, but he is moving on to some other projects. So we wish him all the best, but fear not. We have a new man behind the curtain, and we are very excited to welcome producer Mark to the Hunter Fuel family. Uh, um, also, we don't typically do this, but I do want to specifically mention a spoiler alert for this particular episode. There is a big plot twist towards the end. We're going to assume you know what that twist is. If you don't, pause us, go watch the whole episode, and then come back. We'll be here. We'll be right here waiting for you. So we'll do that. We'll come back. We'll be here. Okay. With that, producer Mark, can you bring up our supernatural game cards for us, please? Lynn, what do you think?
I am not hopeful at all.
Yeah, I don't have a terribly good feeling about mine either, just at a quick glance, but as always, the first one is on the house. Oh, Slancha.
Slancha.
Okay, so it tastes like somebody put liquor in milk.
Yeah,
I think
no thanks.
if I made it again, I would put a little bit of like agave syrup or something in it. It needs a little bit of sweetness to balance out the bite, but we've had worse. So we had
That I just keep
oh
going back to Asylum, and I
oh yeah.
know it's like Lynn, get over it.
Well, that set the bar super low. I don't think we've had any really fantastic cocktails that are like in the running for favorite. So back half of the season is going to have to come off the bench here for
I
cocktails
feel like
to
there was one that you real that I mean, it might not have been as good as some of the ones from last season, but I feel like there
yeah.
was one that I was like, "All right, you are making that sucker for me."
Yeah, yeah.
And
There was one you wanted to try.
yeah,
Actually, I think it was last week's. But yeah, there's nothing that's like knocking the leather off the ball at this point. But oh well, hopefully
uh,
whatever you're drinking at home, you're enjoying a lot more. And we wish you the best of luck. If you're going to play with us, there is a link to generate cards of your very own in the link tree. So with
absolutely.
that, let's get this show on the road. So our then starts off with, the saving people, hunting things, the family business. We cut right to what it was that John whispered to Dean in the hospital, how pissed off Sam is. There's a lot from the previous episode from Hunted with Ava, and pardon me, Sam explaining to her about, people like Sam, like Ava, who have special abilities. Um, we hear Sam saying to Dean, like, you can't protect me from this. And Dean's like, yeah, I can try. So we see Dean is really determined to do everything that he can to protect Sam. And we end on this shot of Sam holding up Ava's engagement ring, like, oh no, like something very bad has happened. Up to now, it's the Pierpont Inn, established 1930 by the Thompson family. We've got this great, haunted house trope with the sign squeaking in the wind. Go ahead, Lynn. I see you want to say something.
That first shot reminded me so much. I know it was in black and white, at least the version I have watched.
Mm.
But it reminded me so much of the very first shot of Psycho.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because there's going to be something else that's very reminiscent of Psycho a little later on. But yeah, it's a very kind of standard horror film trope that dark shadowed sign swinging in the breeze, squeaking on its hinges. Um, we get inside and we've got two little girls. Their names are Tyler and Maggie. Um, and and the mother, Susan, is saying, okay, box up the toys. There's a gentleman who's a mover. He's coming to move some of these boxes out. And we have a son of a bitch
Yep.
because if Maggie swears, Tyler repeats it. And it's not until Tyler repeats it that Susan tells her to watch her language. Next shot is of Tyler going in, and she's playing with this really magnificent dollhouse that we're going to talk more about later. It's spectacular. She's got this little freaky doll. She puts in a rocking chair. She goes to
Yep.
pick up something else, comes back. Doll is gone. She's searching the house. Where's the doll? And there's this fantastic shot through the dollhouse of the doll lying at the foot of the stairs, and the head is twisted completely around backwards. She's looking at the doll, and you hear Susan screaming. This fantastic shot through the chandelier of uh, Susan on the phone. And sure enough, here's this mover with his head completely flipped around backwards. And it's, oh my goodness,
Oh
like
my
the
god,
mouth is still
you could
moving.
still see the chin twitching.
Yep, the
Oh,
chin is twitching, the fingers are twitching. It comes around to this shot of the doll with the fractured face. And
oh.
there is our title card. I'm going to pause it here on the title card because we have a son of a bitch that we need to check our game cards for.
And
Uh,
I don't think I have it.
let's see here. Do I have? It is no, no, no. Ooh, I'm very sad about that. Well, we're gonna have other chances. We'll keep looking.
Yeah.
But
Now,
Go ahead.
and I had looked it up, and of course I forgot to write it down. Typical me. Do you? I know the name of the actress who plays the
Mhm.
mom. She was
Yes.
on. I want to say it was Star. She was the queen of the Borg on
Yes.
Star Trek.
Star Trek Picard, yes.
Yes. And then I feel like I saw some other things where I was like,
You
but
have.
I'm fairly certain it's Picard that is where I'm recognizing her from. But I think that there's a couple other places I think I've seen her in.
You are absolutely correct. That is Annie Wershing, and she was on The Rookie. She
Yes,
played
that's the other place I
yep,
remembered her from.
yep.
That's it.
Yeah, she played serial killer Rosalind Dyer.
Yeah.
She also played a serial killer alongside Nathan Fillion in Castle. And she was in The Runaways, Timeless, The Vampire Diaries, General Hospital.
Yep, I
She's had
saw that one, but it was well
she had
after
a
I stopped
long
watching
career.
it.
Yeah, she just a fantastic actress, very talented, by all accounts, a lovely human being inside and out. And she really tragically passed away in 2023. So it's a little sad for me. Like it's great to see. I think she delivers a wonderful performance here, which is not surprising from
Yeah.
her. She's incredibly talented. But it's also a little sad because we know we know if we don't we're not going to have any more new performances from her. Um, all right, couple things here. Also the little girl who plays Maggie, her name is Conchita Campbell. And near as I could tell, she was in the 4400 and not a whole lot else. The dollhouse. Like how amazing is that dollhouse? Like
I'll say the details in
holy
that
crap.
dollhouse are incredible. I mean,
It,
the old dollhouses were like that. Like the people actually took the time to make like one-on-one replicas. Like that is
yeah.
a lost art.
So they tried to find somebody, like they tried to commission someone to build that for them, and the estimates they were getting were well over $30,000 20
I'm
years
not
ago.
surprised.
No, not at all. But it just wasn't in the budget for them. So production designer Jerry Wanick turned to his team and said, "Hey, folks, want to build a dollhouse?" So his team built that, and it's enormous. It's well over 6 feet long, and really like this breaks my heart. They couldn't find anybody to take it because of its size. So it literally was sat in storage for years before getting sent to a landfill. Like they tried to donate it to children's hospitals and it was just too big. So I mean that beautiful piece of art is just gone. It's really sad. Now I don't have room in my house for it either. So it's
Yeah, but
I
you think
understand.
some like a children's hospital would have like some spot that they could
Yeah.
put it in for like sick kids to play with it.
That's what they tried, and yeah, they couldn't find anybody to take it. Last thing I want to mention before we hit play is, we were talking about that really spectacular shot and how
Yeah.
super creepy it was with that guy's head, full
Ugh.
exorcist twist. So that was a prosthetic piece worn by the actor so that, his arms are facing one way, the head's on backwards with him looking out through the wig. And then special effects coordinator Ivan Hayden, he and his team went in post, and they put in that mouth motion and the little fingers twitching. And it was something that in season two, they brought the visual effects in house. So
Yes.
all the CGI they stopped outsourcing to third parties, and they were able to do things like that because it didn't cost extra. So those are some things we get to look forward to. Uh,
Now, and you would probably know the answer to this more than I
Gonna
would just
find out.
because that scene where the two girls are sitting on the isn't that a sort what's the word phrase I'm looking for? isn't that supposed to be like a sort of a shot from another horror movie? I want to say The Shining, but I could be wrong on
Yes.
that.
So, I don't think it's an exact one-to-one, but there are a lot of references to The Shining in
Homage.
these
There's the word I
episodes.
was looking for.
Homage, yes. I think it's fair to call it an homage to The Shining. So both little girls, and this is something we're going to come back to later in the episode, both little girls are dressed very, very similarly.
Yes.
And this is, 2006, early part of 2007. I don't remember exactly when this episode aired. Well, it's after the winter hiatus, so it would have been really early 2007. Um, and here's this little girl playing with old-fashioned toys the entire time. She's in old-fashioned dresses the whole time. And it is a call out to or an homage, as you said, to The Shining, to have these two little girls dressed very similarly. Oh, all right. Anything else you want to say before we move on here?
Nope. No, that was the
All right.
couple of things I remembered that just stuck out in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So coming off of the title card here, we've hit play and we immediately get a quirky motel room and the missing persons flyer for Ava. So we'll come look at the cards in a few minutes. But Dean comes back. He's got food and coffee, and he's gonna carry this
I
fucking cup of coffee
coffee.
around the entire scene and not so much as take a sip of it.
It's
Sam
like it
drinks.
doesn't get
Sam
anywhere
knows
near
what
his
he's
mouth.
supposed to
I'm
do.
watching
No,
this scene and I'm like, son of a bitch, we to drink the damn thing.
drink the fucking coffee, and he doesn't. Nope. So sadly, we don't have demons in the scene, and it annoys the
I was just like,
crap out of me. Um,
oh, again, we have
but
Sam, but that doesn't help
Sam's drinking
us.
away. Yeah, anybody, it doesn't matter. People are walking past the window chowing down, but no, not this guy. It's written by Matt Whitten, who also wrote No Exit, and these are the only two episodes of Supernatural that he wrote, and they were both really good. Like he comes millimeters away from drinking it, but nope, nope. It was also, this is the first of 14 episodes that will be directed by Charles Beeson. So we will see his name again. He was an incredibly talented director, and sadly, he also passed away, um, and is remembered very fondly by everybody who worked with him. So he was a real loss for the supernatural community. Um, but while Dean is not drinking his coffee, they are chatting away, and they have gotten word from Ellen that there's a job for them, and if we used to have "Let's get to work," we got work to do on our bingo cards, and if it was still there, we'd be able to count it. But R.I.P.
No, but we
We're,
did
we've
have a
got work to
dude.
do. We do have a dude. So, you know what? I know it's a little early, but let's go ahead and pause it because we've got two here and I don't want to get lost. Um, so we're looking for a quirky motel room and a dude.
And I don't
And
think I have either one.
no,
But you
big
know what?
fat goose egg.
I'm freaking thirsty, so I'm drinking anyways.
If I enjoyed mine more, I'd be joining you. So I'm just gonna stay hydrated and wait for my turn.
Yeah, I'm too impatient.
If my cocktail tasted better, I would be as well. All right, so hitting play, the boys show up at the inn. We did have this great conversation where, Sam was saying, like, look, I don't know what the hell is going on with me, but we've got to try to save as many people as we can.
Yeah.
We've got this fantastic little line from Dean. It just cracks me up where he's like, "Ooh, a real legit haunted house. We might run into Fred and Daphne while we're inside." Mm, Daphne, love her.
I
File that away. The
was
show
gonna say,
has
isn't that a line from Scooby Doo?
Fred and Daphne are Scooby Doo. Yeah, it's Scooby Doo reference, and Supernatural has a lovely relationship with I got myself all turned around here with Scooby Doo. So this is the first of several references we'll see throughout the season or series. Holy crap, I can't talk. Um,
Nice to
one
know I'm
calls it
not the
just
only one.
wow. This is going to be fun. So, um, I've paused it here just because I don't want it to get lost. As the boys were walking into the hotel, they notice a hoodoo symbol
Yeah,
carved into one of the giant planters by the front door.
yeah.
And they're both sort of furrowing their brows because they are in Connecticut and very far from where you would expect to find large numbers of hoodoo practitioners. Um, so they're like, something seems a little strange here. They walk inside, and as they're walking up to the counter to check into this inn here, this creepy haunted inn, the two girls come running past, and Sam dodges out of but he Tyler, but he doesn't react to Maggie. So it's something that if you're paying close attention, once you know what the twist is going to be like, oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Excuse me. Okay, so hitting play, they go to check in. And this is a gag that they are not going to let go of here. But as they check in, she assumes that they are a couple who are in Connecticut for antiquing. And Sam was like, no, 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 we're brothers. We're just brothers. And Dean was
I
like,
love the look on Dean's face right there. Like the
yeah.
looking down, like, are you fucking kidding with me?
What do you
Like
mean
the
we look the type? Like he's clearly not happy. That,
no.
which I think potentially explains why this is one of the few women he doesn't hit on. Um, but here comes the butler, and sure enough, he also thinks they're antiquers. I love this scene as they're coming up the stairs, and the butler is dragging the duffel bag with all the weapons in it. It's like thudding on every stair. Dean is like,
And I love it. Dean was like, I can help you with that. No, no, I got it. Boom,
thud.
boom, boom.
Uh, Jerry Wanick and his team did such a great job with the set design here. Like you can tell it's the kind of place that like used to be a really swanky hotel and has kind of fallen on hard times. So things are a little shabby. Uh, this is the first time probably in their lives they've stayed in a hotel where they might have to tip somebody at the
Oh
hotel.
my
And
god, that wedding gown is just so damn freaky.
who does that? Who
I
does
don't know.
that?
I really don't.
Now, I will say my cousins got married at a venue where they had antique wedding clothes like framed up on the wall, and that looked very nice. That's not what this is. It's just super creepy.
Like I keep waiting for it to like float through the room.
Then it would be an episode of Scooby Doo. So the boys are talking about what's going on at the hotel. They've had a lot of recent deaths, and the gay jokes continue. Dean is like, "Why do they think we're a gay couple?" And Sam's response is, "Well, they probably think you're overcompensating." Um, the reason I bring it up is, there are members of the SPN family who perceive that Dean is a queer character. And part of the argument in support of that position is that anybody who's comfortable with their sexuality is not going to work that hard to convince people around them that they're straight. So I you know what? I'm actually going to pause this here because I want to have a, I want to ask you about this. I, I wonder if the fact that this line made it into the show is evidence that the writers' room is aware this conversation is happening in the fandom. So I could
Hmm.
be convinced to call this a fourth wall break slash meta moment.
Hmm.
And by
That's
I
a
could be
really no. That's a really interesting take on that. Like I, because I mean they are making an awfully, because like they make an awfully big deal of it for something that should have just been a drop it and let it go, but they're kind of
yeah.
obsessing over it, which is not the norm really.
I mean, early seasons they don't shy away from making some uh, some jokes at the expense of the LGBTQIA plus community that don't land as well in 2026 as they did then. But it seems like it's oddly specific,
Yeah, well, just I mean,
knowing that that conversation
calling
was
Dean
happening.
Butch, I think is oddly specific.
Yeah. So looking,
I'll go with you on this one,
all right. All right. So we are looking for a meta moment fourth wall break here.
and I
And
happen to have it, but that has nothing to do with
oh,
why I went with it.
no. And you know what? I don't have that one either. Oh, this is getting annoying. Ah,
Well,
balls.
I don't have that one either.
Uh, no. Oh, this is getting frustrating. Okay, well, congratulations. And you know what? I am over this. I am not going to let you drink alone. So, loving my cocktail or no, I am going to join you. Oh, yeah, definitely needs a little simple syrup in it or something. Okay, it'll play. So, the boys have made their way to Susan's office, and it is just packed with these creepy ass dolls.
Oh my god.
I imagine
I
that
love this. Like, and so he decides he's turning the tables.
I think
I
he's getting back at Sam
Oh,
here.
I think he's completely a knock at Sam on this one. 1,000%. You were having fun with the gay comment? Two can play this game.
I'm telling the pretty widowed innkeeper you like to play with dollies and put little dresses on them. Honestly, I think Jared's performance is really funny where he's just like, dude, and he's like, come on, come on. He's like, yes, it's true.
Yeah.
So,
I just love the two completely different facial expressions between Sam and Dean on this.
yeah.
Like, Dean's just totally playing it up, and Sam's like, okay, I'm actually trying to research this and actually figure out what's going on. So, how about if we try getting serious?
And Dee's like, no, no, I have no interest in being serious. Thank you. I do want to point out there's this line here from Susan where she talks about how the dolls have been in the family forever and they have a lot of sentimental value. So hang on to that. We're gonna come back to that later. Here comes Tyler,
Yeah.
and she is insisting. Sam finds the doll with the head flipped all the way around in the dollhouse. Tyler is insisting that Maggie is causing trouble and that she just found the doll that way, that nobody did it. She mentions Grandma Rose, who is Susan's mother. They want to talk to her, but Susan is like, no, absolutely not. She's not well. She's not taking visitors. We've got this. We've got this Boomin' Granny reference from Dean, which is a reference to a Beastie Boys song. Um,
Well, then, and if you
So
notice when they showed the shot of Grandma again, that was straight out of Psycho.
it is. It is. It's very much it. And there's another scene coming up that's almost an exact replica of something we see in Psycho. We've got a porn reference here, which we'll check for later. Dean tells Sam not to go surfing for porn. So he's getting all the digs in he can. He's getting back at Sam. Uh, Cut back to Tyler. So Susan has just learned that a gentleman is there from the company that has purchased the inn, and she's just learned that their intention is to demolish it. They're going to tear it down. So cut from that over to Tyler. Tyler's having a little tea party. Here's another one of these creepy dolls that's dressed like from the company.
Yeah, who's
You
just
know,
sitting there? Like, I mean,
yeah,
is it
I
me
know
or is
that's a
this
little
just
weird.
weird? Like, he's
It is
just.
weird. He's not meditating. No, he's just sitting there for no apparent reason. Um, and we've got the horror film trope of the door squeaking open. Uh, Tyler's attention is attracted to the dollhouse. She comes and looks, and here's the doll hanging from the ceiling fan. Cut to now this guy is hanging from the ceiling fan. So we've had another death here and this is all right, you know what? I'm going to pause this here on this black screen. Um, yeah, Mr. Witherspoon, I think he is going to give this in 0 stars. He would not recommend. The other thing while we're looking for the porn reference is the song that Tyler is humming is Ring Around the Rosie, which is a children's nursery rhyme. Most people know it. And it is most likely referring to the Great Plague of London in 1665. So it's interesting that they choose that here to have something that's an innocuous, children's nursery rhyme that's actually about like, horrible death.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's see if we've got a porn reference here. And
Nope.
no,
This is
no.
getting ridiculous.
Oh, I'm getting frustrated here. Okay, never mind. Moving on. So hitting play. So we've got Sam and Dean watching, it's Sam looking out the window as the coroners are taking Mr. Witherspoon away. Annie's distraught. Dean has come out onto the porch and I'm sorry, I think I'm calling her Annie. Susan is, very upset that now someone else has died in the inn, and so she's offering Sam and Dean their money back if they want to check out. She's like, I'll give you a refund. I understand. And Dean's like, no, I don't scare that easy. Uh, the boys are staying in room 237, which is also a reference to The Shining. We've got a close up of the key hanging in the lock here. Dean walks in and Sam is slouched over in a chair and he is 3 sheets to the wind. He is just completely drunk and he's like,
I
he's
say he
short.
is trashed.
He's trashed and he starts teasing Dean that he's bossy and
And
short. Uh, Dean looks over and the liquor cabinet is just empty. So I do think it's a little ironic Dean is busting his chops for like, dude, we're on a case. What are you doing? Because like seen Dean knock a few back on a case before. So,
oh yeah. So
um,
now, could we call this a comment about height? Because
yes.
except for the fact that it's the other way around.
No, no, there's a joke here about Sam's height, and it's actually Jensen's nickname for Jared, that to call him Sasquatch. So Dean calls Sam Sasquatch, which is a joke about Sam's height we will look at in a minute. Um, I would also be prepared to call this a heartfelt broman.
You took it right out of my mouth, so clearly I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah, and I want to look closely here because I think if we pay attention, I think Sam starts to cry here. So there might be some fun stuff here. Um,
I love it.
and there's
Sam
something
starts
else.
to cry. We can get happy.
Let's yes, cry, baby, cry. But what we've got here is Sam saying, like, please, if I start to go wrong, you have to kill me. Like you have to choose other people over me.
Now, the one
Um,
thing in this scene that bothers me is literally 2 frames ago
mm,
with the
mm,
how we've talked about so many times how Jensen and his subtleties with his facial expressions.
yeah, I'm
That
hitting pause.
that's the facial expression I was waiting for. That should have been 2 frames ago. Like he was too like emotionless 2 frames ago. That bothers the hell out of me. Every single time I see this scene, I'm like, seriously, Dean, give me
You know,
something.
I hear where you're coming from. And here's why it doesn't bother me. I think he's trying to hold his shit together for his brother. Because the second Pam, holy crap. The second Sam plops down on the bed and like turns away, that's when you see emotion from Dean. Like, I think he's got his poker face on in front of his brother. And it's something that he commented on back in Bloodlust with Gordon, that I've got to keep my game face on. I can't talk to Sammy about this. Um,
Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll definitely I'll give you that one.
yeah. Now the part that makes me sad is I was watching very closely, and we've talked about this before. For us to call this Sam or Dean cry, like I want to see tears on
Yeah, I
somebody's
didn't even
face.
see his. I didn't. You see the emotion. I didn't even see his eyes water up, and like I
I
was staring.
agree. I agree. So sadly, I think that we cannot call this Sam or Dean cry, but we do have the Americana theme playing here.
Ooh.
So we can look for, we already looked for porn, we didn't have it. A
Nope.
joke about Sam's height, a heartfelt bromance, and the Americana theme plays. So let's check our cards here.
Uh,
Oh, I have a heartfelt bromance, finally. I have an
I do not.
Americana
I'm
theme.
surprised in that scene we didn't get a Sammy. I did not see one, but I'm surprised we didn't.
Yeah, we are going to get one if memory serves.
Uh,
Um, Oh no, we
I don't.
did. We did. You are absolutely right. There is a Sammy. You know what? It's coming up next. We're just going to check for it now.
Okay,
And
because
I do have a
all
Sammy.
right. I have a Sammy.
All right,
Um.
Sammy, American. Do I have a joke about Sam's height? I do.
Oh,
Finally, now they're
you're
coming
doing
in.
good with this one. I don't even have a joke about Sam's height. I just yeah. I have a Sammy.
All
That's
right.
it. I
All right. Well,
think.
I have three, and I right now have three in a row.
Damn, girl.
And finally, coming from
Cheers.
behind. Here we go.
Yeah, I have three. Period. And
All
I
right.
think I'm gonna get, if my memory serves me right, two more, and that's it.
Mm, all right. Well, let's find out. Hitting play. So here we get Dean, and I love this too. If you watch him, he's kind of like hunched over as he's coming down the stairs and he's sort of flopping down the stairs. He gets to the bottom of the stairs, and as he's coming around the corner into the bar, you see him like pull himself up straight.
Mm-hmm.
as he's walking into this bar. So I think you're right. I think that like this emotionally, this does really affect him. Um, this bar is an homage to The Shining. It's very, very similar to something to the bar in the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. Pour Dean a nice hefty belt of whiskey, and he's just gonna hold it. He's not even gonna get to first base with this whiskey.
Oh,
Hold it,
oh,
pick it
oh,
back up.
oh.
Nope.
Ah, God
Nope.
damn it.
I
I
know.
was gonna say, to me, that was at least first base. He just didn't do a home run.
He didn't. Okay, I'll give you first base. He didn't get to second.
No.
Like there, he doesn't even get to second base with his whiskey. Um, so he starts plying the butler slash bartender to tell stories about the hotel. So Dean is still trying to figure out what's going on here while Sam's sleeping off his drunk. And he gets from the butler that the family, the same family owned this hotel, the better part of a century, and it's going to be torn down. It's really heartbreaking, but he starts to go through the old family photos lining the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Dean is asking about Grandma Rose. The butler is being really protective. Um, but he does say, "Oh, here's some pictures of Rose when she was a little girl." And here she is with her black nanny. So we do have a kind of a dated trope here about the magic black woman. But the nanny is wearing the same five-spot hoodoo symbol that was on the urn when
Yeah.
we first showed up at the hotel.
Yeah, and we have seen it several times throughout the house.
Yeah, yeah, they keep finding this five spot around the house.
Oh, and there's
You know,
poor Sam, who is
Sam worshiping the porcelain god. We've got our Sammy here,
Sammy.
which we already checked for. And I think Teen says, don't mix whiskey with Jaeger.
Yeah.
And a little later, he's going to say, I can still taste the tequila. So it just seems like Sam just, whatever little bottle he could find, he drank. And that just that is not a good morning.
And he just, and when Dean talks about a sandwich, that puts him right over the edge.
So, a greasy pork sandwich served up in a dirty ashtray is a reference to the 1985 film Weird Science, starring a very young Robert Downey Jr., Anthony Michael Hall, and Bill Paxton. Uh, Dean like walks up to the bathroom and he's like, oh, you need to brush your teeth. um, Okay, so Sam is on his feet here, and he's gonna pick a lock. I don't know that we should let the hungover guy pick the lock, but we have a lock pick. Um, they break into the office past all of the freaky deaky dolls,
Yeah.
and they are trying to find Grandma Rose's suite or rooms or whatever. They find a doorway off of the main office. So this is where this is the family's suite inside the inn. Up the creepy, dark, creaky stairs.
Oh my
And
god.
they
This is
they
so like The Shining revisited.
it is. Yeah, they're definitely making an homage here. Up the stairs to Grandma Rose's room, and they find her again down the end of another creepy hallway. Um, and you can tell from the roof that or the ceiling, I should say, that they're up in the attic space. So we've got Grandma in the attic. Um, And here's this is straight out of Psycho, with
Yep.
the
Oh
the
yeah.
woman from the back in the chair and coming around the side, which if you've never seen Psycho, go, go do
Yeah.
that. It is like it's a fantastic film.
Say me who
Want to talk about
cannot do
homage?
horror movies has seen it like 4 times.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic piece of cinema. Definitely see it. But they come around. Here's Grandma Rose, and she is not verbal. So they
Yeah.
realize right away this poor woman has had a stroke. She is, she can't possibly be practicing hoodoo.
No.
That she can't get out of the chair. She's not able to conduct the rituals. But
I love this. No, you
what
are
do you want
I
to do? Poke her with a stick?
no, we are not gonna poke her with a stick.
We're not gonna poke her with a stick. Like, no. But in comes Susan, and she's like, eh, m- she is terrified. She assumes Sam and Dean have scared her. Here goes
Nope.
Sam and Dean leaving. We don't get a tire squeal because it's on gravel, which makes me very sad. Um, but we do have, and again, here's uh, Tyler and Maggie playing with jacks. Uh, which again, like I don't think kids have played with jacks since before we were small.
Nope. I remember trying it once, and oh, and this is when we find out that Maggie is imaginary.
Yes. Yeah. So here's the bomb drop. And then Maggie says, I don't like her. Which if you've seen the Twilight Zone about Talkie Tina, I don't like you. Like something bad's coming. I would be prepared to call her a creepy evil kid. I
Oh, me
just
too. 100% she is a creepy evil kid.
all right. So you know what? Let's pause this here. Let's pause this. There it goes. So we're looking for a creepy evil kid,
Yep, which I
and
have
Sam
that
picks a
one,
lock.
and I have pick a lock, so I have
I
those
have
two.
pick a lock, which God damn it, if Sam had just cried in that last scene, I would have five in a row.
Oh, you
Like,
pain in my ass.
if pull out a nose hair or something, cry, you bastard. And I have a creepy evil kid. Okay. So that
Oh
gets me.
my god. Well, cheers.
Cheers, 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 cheers.
Well, you wanted it to be difficult to get 5 in a row. You've succeeded.
I done a good job.
Very good.
Although we've had quite a few four in a rows this season that we didn't have
Yes, we
first
have.
season. So we did our corrections have made some improvements here. And why did Sam have to be so damn manly? If only he had wept some manly tears. We have five in a row. Okay, so as far as we know, Sam and Dean are gone,
Yep.
hitting play. Here is Susan. She's packing some boxes up in her car. We once again have Tyler playing with an old tin wind up toy. And I will say this kind of brought back some childhood memories for me of my grandmother's house because like the toy chest in my grandmother's house had toys going back to, like the
Mm,
40s and older from when my dad and his brother and sisters were younger. So I recognize some of these kinds of toys, but it is a little strange that she would be playing. As she's playing, she looks, and once again, in the dollhouse set, the
yeah.
swing starts to swing back and forth by itself.
Yeah.
Cut to
And
Susan. She notices the swings, the real swings outside, start catching in the wind.
yeah. Or as she thinks are catching the wind.
Yeah, it's definitely attracting her attention though, because
Oh
she's
yeah.
walking over. It's not, I mean, you can see from the shrubbery that like the seesaw and the swings are all going up and down. Same thing is happening in the play set inside with Tyler. Um, and here comes the car starts all by itself.
Yeah.
So if you remember from the pilot, the woman in white possessed baby. So we know
Yep.
that this is a skill that spirits have. So Maggie's not an imaginary friend. Maggie is a ghost. The car is, I was about to make another comment, but I'm going to hold it.
Well,
Uh,
that and you almost start to think like with her facial, like with the daughter's facial expressions, it's like, okay, who is doing all of this? Because like the
yeah,
daughter is staring so intensely, you almost for a second there want to think
yeah.
that
Is it her?
is it her? Because
Yeah.
if I suddenly saw my play set going wonky, I'd be a little freaked out, not staring at it like I am possessing it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's something I don't know that I thought before. So now that you bring it up, I agree with you. I think it is a little bit of a red herring here. It's a question of like, okay, is Tyler the one doing this? So that's a good point. Um, we get a great conversation here between Sam and Dean. Sam rescued uh I keep wanting to call her Annie. Susan right before she
Susan.
gets smooshed by the car. Car hits a tree instead of Susan. And uh they're saying based on what we just saw, this is a spirit. Now, the one thing we don't get in this episode is a sudden unexplained cold spot. So, they didn't want to tip their hand, and that's something we also see ghosts do in the supernatural universe that doesn't happen. But there's this fantastic little reveal here. This is where the boys realize that this whole episode they thought there were two little girls living in the house. And Sam is like, "You need to get your daughters out of here." And Susan says, "Daughters? I only have one daughter. Maggie's imaginary." Um, we get our first look at this doll that resembles Maggie. If you remember back in Providence, Taylor said that dolls were made to resemble children, often even using the dead child's hair
Right,
to make
yep.
the doll. So, these dolls that have been in the family forever and have sentimental value, one of them is probably the remains that Maggie is tied to. They go into the back into the offices. Susan's trying to get her daughter and her mother. And most of the dolls have been pulled off the shelves and smashed. There's this really freaky shot of like a doll hand with a busted eyeball sitting in it,
Yeah.
like so creepy. Uh, excuse me. But they realize that uh, Rose had a sister. Here's the doll,
Yeah.
named Maggie or
And
Margaret. This is an
yep, and that
amazing
doll has the
shot.
same curly hair
Same
that
curly.
the girl has.
Yes, yes. So we see the doll here. I mentioned it a little too early. But here the girls are. Maggie drowned in the pool. So Maggie and Rose are now at the pool, and Maggie, not Rose, I'm sorry, Maggie and Tyler. I'm going to get these people's names right, I swear. Uh, but Maggie's trying to convince Tyler to jump in the pool and drown herself. We've got some fantastic shots up through the water with like the bubble of air, and you can see the two girls in the bubble. It's some
Mhm.
really beautiful shots from Charles Beeson. Um, but Maggie is saying, she doesn't want to be alone, that
Yeah.
everybody's gonna leave. They're gonna tear down this hotel. She's gonna be by herself. Um, and before this, we saw a shot of Maggie talking to Rose. So Rose can see her, but because of the stroke, she can't tell anybody. And so she's saying, you know what, I'm gonna take your granddaughter and we're gonna be together forever. She
Oh,
shoves. Tyler in the pool, and Tyler gets wrapped up in the plastic, and I gotta say, like, this is utterly terrifying. Like, the
Yep.
idea of
Oh
being, like,
God.
wrapped up
It's,
in plastic, like, inches from the surface, and, like, for that to be as a parent, for to watch that happen to your child and not be able to get to them, like, this might be the most terrifying thing Supernatural does.
oh,
Um Yeah, so Sam is trying to get through the door. He's trying to use a planter to break the glass, and it's not working.
oh,
Dean is
yep.
trying to kick the door. That's not working. Like, this is nightmare fuel here. And the whole time Maggie is just standing there holding Tyler's head underwater. Then we hear a
Yep.
little girl's voice calling Margaret. She disappears. Sam finally gets to the door. There's this fantastic shot of him vaulting over the railing. Like,
Oh,
he looks really fucking
oh.
heroic jumping over that railing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's a hero shot. He gets through the netting. He grabs um, Tyler,
Yeah.
and he pulls her out of the pool. Again, we've got this great kind of slow motion shot of him coming out of the water with the little girl. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So the whole fine we get a door
Right,
kick.
right
Finally.
as he does the kick, right as he kicks in the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Finally, Dean gets through the door. So we'll check for a door kick. And then everybody's just gonna kind of stand around and watch this little girl drowning, because doing CPR wouldn't possibly be a good idea. Uh,
Yeah.
no
It's
reason to
like,
do
come
that.
on. It's like, let's just see if she miraculously comes to.
Yeah, let's just see what happens here. Maybe take bets. But fortunately, she spits up all the water. I think this little girl's doing a pretty good job here. Like, for a child actor, I think she's doing pretty well. She
Mm-hmm.
says she doesn't see Maggie. Cut to Maggie and Grandma Rose. We can only hear Maggie's side of the conversation because of the stroke. Grandma Rose can't speak, but Maggie can clearly understand what she's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rose makes her a deal. So, Rose has been the one who was doing the hoodoo to keep Maggie away from Rose's daughter and granddaughter. And she makes a deal that she'll stay with Maggie if Maggie promises to leave Susan and Tyler alone. And so this is the deal. This is the deal she makes. Uh, Here come
Yeah.
Susan and Tyler. They're like, okay, we're getting grandma and we're getting out. Like, we're out. Sam and Dean are like, something's weird here. Like, ghosts don't just stop. We didn't fix anything. Like, okay, you saved the little girl from drowning. Yay. Um, excuse me, but we
Yeah.
didn't stop the ghost. Come in. Grandma Rose has died. Coroner is back. I wonder, do you get frequent flyer miles with coroners? I wonder.
I mean, I hope they've gotten like a package deal because
Package deal
I mean, this is what the third in what a week.
that we've seen, and there were two deaths that caused it to get on Ellen's radar. So there were more deaths that we didn't see. So yeah, they must have, like a Starbucks, like a punch card, 5 deaths, your sixth is free. But and now Tyler comes out and she's now wearing normal, modern, circa 2007 kids clothes. She's got
Yeah.
a cute little jean jacket on, a little t-shirt. So she's not dressed like Wesley Adams anymore. Wednesday Adams. Oh my goodness, not Wesley, Wednesday. Um, we've got a hug for Sam from
Yeah.
Susan. And Dean's got to make a MILF comment or he wouldn't be Dean. um, so Jared has been in a cast this whole time because his wrist was broken. if you remember the
Yeah.
practical joke Kim Manners played during No Exit, where they got it wet, they had to make him an appointment to have it cut off and put back on again. They were able to do that scene and get it wet because we're going to see in the next episode he doesn't have the cast anymore. So he was due to have it cut off, and they were able to have Sam in the pool since Jared wasn't going to have to worry about the
Yeah.
cast. Okay, so here we're in the
Yeah.
we're in the last couple minutes here. Um, Another, if we
Yeah.
didn't already have the heartfelt moment, I
Ugh.
think we could call this one next. Again, they're having
Yeah.
this conversation again where Sam is reminding Dean of his promise. We've got a repeat. This is the exact same shot we saw before. And if you look closely, Lynn, I know you love your oopsies. You can see Susan hanging, like you can, they didn't quite crop her out on the left side. So they reused a shot of Susan
I was
watching the
say I
boys
was
drive
looking at
away.
this going, I feel like there's supposed to be
Yep.
something different and I'm not
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah, it's the same shot. They just tried to crop Susan out and they didn't totally get her. So this is the boys drive away part two. Cut that, but we're not done.
Nope.
So the we kind of have this great like camera work through this creepy inn that's now
Yeah.
abandoned essentially. And we see Rose and Margaret both as little girls and they're playing together. They're skipping rope.
Yeah.
Oh, these freaky ass dolls, man.
Dolls.
And we end on this close up of the
The
Margaret
hair.
doll, which leaves me with a lot of questions.
I was gonna
Right.
say I'm gonna leave my comment to the very end.
Okay.
I've been kind of biting my tongue for a while now.
Okay. Well, let me say a couple things quickly and then because that is our episode. But so like so Maggie is tied to the doll, right? So
Yeah.
what happens now? Like if they donate the doll, does Maggie go with the doll? And so now she's going to haunt some other family? If the doll gets demolished with the hotel, does that release Maggie's spirit and now Rose is all alone? Like I don't know. And that's something that I really love about this episode that it doesn't tie up neatly and the boys feel unsettled and so do we. The way that it's done is really fantastic. Um, Last thing I'm going to mention is we learned in the last episode that Dean was told by John in the
Yeah.
hospital that he needed to watch out for Sam.
Right.
We had that great conversation earlier where,
Mm-hmm.
Dean understood the watch out as look after your brother. Like he's like,
Yes.
yeah, I always have. And Sam is like, no, you need
No.
to watch out for me.
Yeah, like if I
Um,
start to do something, watch it and take
yep,
me out.
yep.
And I
Which
love it.
that's
He's
a
like, well, you forgot that conversation, right? And he's like,
yeah,
I wasn't that drunk, bud.
no. I might have been drunk, but you weren't, and you promised, and I need you to keep your promise. Now, entertainingly enough, if we go back to Croatoan, there was a conversation between the boys where Sam was saying, I'm infected. You've got to take me out. And Dean was
Mm-hmm.
like, hell no. So we didn't know then about what John had told Dean. So looking back on that conversation, it gets much more interesting once we know what what John's instructions to Dean were.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right. What were you gonna say? You know what? Is there okay, we do have to look at our cards for a door
Yeah.
kick.
Yeah.
But you were gonna make a comment.
I'm gonna hold it, my comment, because it's the one thing I didn't
Okay.
like.
Oh, okay. All right. So we will wait. Let's see if either one of us have a door kick. Kick in a door. I do have kick in a door.
I
Um,
don't.
all right.
My
And
card truly sucked this time.
I am absolutely heartbroken. If only, if only we'd had some tears, I would have 5 in a row. But I do not. The most I have is 4, and I have 3, 4, 6, 8
Two,
total.
three, four. I have five, and the most I have in a row is two.
Okay, so I have lost by the least.
So I will toast your victory.
Uh, why, thank you. I have to drink for the door kick. Mm. Okay. One thing you loved, one thing you hated.
The one thing I loved was all the homages to all the old horror movies.
Yeah, yeah, I
That
agree.
I that I loved. So that was the one thing I loved. The one thing
Okay.
I did not like, even though I am thinking about it a little differently now, it's still bothering me.
Mm.
I feel like they did a major I feel like just knowing how the boys usually routinely deal with things, they did a major miss. There was a major miss opportunity with not dealing with her hair.
Yeah, they never do take the time to find out what
Yeah,
she was tied to. Like like they save the little girl and they're like, "Okay, job done." Like,
yeah.
but
It's like,
you know
and then, but to me, like the camera focuses on, like, as usually, as you and I have pointed out multiple times in many episodes, when the camera zooms in that many times on an object, it's always like, okay,
it's important.
yeah, it's important. File that away. File that
Especially with
away.
Charles Basin. Yeah, he's a very deliberate director.
Yeah. And I feel like that was almost a major miss, because it's like they keep zooming in on it and then they do nothing with it.
I hear where you're coming from, and it is like I said, it is a little strange, I think, of Sam and Dean to just drive away and leave
Yeah.
this spirit undealt with. And again, going back to Croatoa, and this is now the second time in the season where they haven't really solved the problem. The problem just stopped.
Yeah.
Uh, and I You're not wrong. It is kind of unlike them. The thing I like about it is and we've talked about this before, that Supernatural is not the kind of show where things sort of tie up neatly with a bow at the end of 42 minutes. That, the
Yeah.
boys get things wrong, and they don't always save the day, and so the real hero here is Grandma Rose.
Yeah.
And
So
no,
now that's why it just it the hero is Grandma Rose. It annoys. It's still annoying. Just the fact with the way the camera work was done. If they hadn't pinned in on it so much, it wouldn't have bothered me.
yeah. I hear where you're coming from. That the reason it doesn't bother me is because I I perceive that they're doing it on purpose to leave you with this, as the viewer, with the same kind of unsettled feeling Sam and Dean have. So for me, there, holy crap, there is a lot to love here. What I'm gonna pick, just because we haven't talked about it yet, is Brenda McDonald, who plays Grandma Rose.
Oh
Holy
yes,
crap.
that was amazing.
Her performance, she has no dialogue. She has no body language. Like, she is in a chair with no words. And her entire, and she can't even really move her face.
No.
that her entire performance is in her eyes. And holy crap, she delivers in spades. Like I think she does an extraordinary job with that
Yes, she
role.
does.
The thing I hated is all of the almosts. And it's
Yeah.
something that sort of has nothing to do with the episode at all and everything to do with our Stupornatural game cards. Dean almost drinks. Sam almost cries. He almost checks out Susan. Baby's tires almost
Almost.
squeal. We almost don't even get a door kick.
Yeah, it's like, come on. It's like, stop
Come
messing with us.
on. Come on, people. We've got a drinking game to play here. Work with us. Come on. Okay. That is last call.
So,
I'm gonna
since
have
we barely got a chance to drink,
I was gonna say one more of my mediocre cocktail here. Seriously, folks, if you make this yourself at home, drop a little bit of agave syrup in it. I think it's gonna fix it right up. Thanks for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to tell your friends. Please also like our videos and subscribe so it's easier for other people to find us too. We love hearing from our SPN family. Please make sure to comment on the videos, send us an email at hunterfuelpodcast@gmail.com, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hunter Fuel Podcast. In our next episode, we'll be watching season 2, episode 12, Night Shifter, when Sam and Dean rob a bank. Almost. Until then, be safe, everybody. Bye
bye
bye.
bye.